This is how Nigerian statistics state voted in 2023 presidential elections. Without that, it was the most closely contested presidential election in Nigeria's recent history. Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the ruling All Progressive Congress was declared winner. But here's the thing, he secured only 36.6% of total votes. The other main opposition parties combined over 63%. That makes Tinubu the most unpopular elected president in Nigeria's history, at least by vote share. You see, to win Nigeria's presidency, a candidate must not only have the highest vote count, but also secure at least 25% of votes in 24 states, including the Federal Capital Territory. Tinubu managed to meet that threshold barely, and that was largely thanks to the support from the North, which contributed a staggering 63.4% of his total votes.
Coming together in collaboration with our brothers in the southeast, in the south, and the southwest, are coming together to see how we can unseat him in 2027, and we are serious about this.
However, with the growing disconnect between Tinubu's administration and the North, a window of opportunity is really opening up for the opposition to form a coalition. Well, how it will look like is what we're going to be finding out in this video. The 2023 election wasn't business as usual. This was a three-horse race. Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the APC, Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party, and Peter Obi of the Labour Party, who actually started his campaign as a member of the PDP but later defected to Labour Party. There was also Rabiu Kwankwaso of the new Nigerian People's Party, but only managed to win one state, and in the broader context of things, it's insignificant. Votes were deeply regionalized. Tinubu ruled the southwest, though Atiku dominated the northeast. Obi swept the southeast, while other zones, the northwest, the north central, and the south-south were intense battlegrounds. Despite each of these top three winning 12 states apiece, the total vote count gives Tinubu the edge, with 8.8 million votes. Atiku and Obi with 6.9 and 6.1 million votes respectively. With a rising inflation, growing poverty rate, rising insecurity, ethnic division, and a shrinking GDP, the window for unseating the ruling party can never be any better. But considering Nigeria's electoral history, unseating an incumbent government isn't an easy feat. Hence, the beginning of talks for a more united opposition in forming a coalition against the ruling party, taking lessons from the 2016 election as the only way of unseating an incumbent government. Leading this chart is Nasir el-Rufai, former APC chieftain, now in SDP, Atiku Abubakar of the PDP, Rotimi Amechi, former governor of Rivers State and former minister of works. Other pupils are on the fence, like Peter Obi and Rabiu Kwankwaso. But to get a periscope of the workability of this hypothetical coalition, a more broad examination of these actors, their support base and structure will be taken one after the other. Starting from the less decisive of these, we start with Rotimi Amechi, former Minister of Transportation, ex-governor of Rivers State, once a strong APC ally, but today, his political relevance has waned, his base fractured, and his involvement in the controversial Buhari administration doesn't help him either. Still, he may play a useful supporting role in a coalition as a stakeholder, but not a frontliner. Then we move to Nasir el-Rufai, the North's controversial wildcard. El-Rufai once a Tinubu key backer, but has since become an outspoken critic, maybe because of his exclusion from the government circle or his disappointment with the direction of the Tinubu's administration. Well, we'll let you decide. But however, el-Rufai holds certain prospects, as well as dents, that essentially leaves the scope of his impact debatable. On one hand, viewed as a dynamic leader with a good support base, especially amongst Muslims in the north. On the other hand, viewed as a religious bigot, especially among the Christians and other minorities in southern Kano and the general north, viewed around the killings and the rampages of those areas during his governorship. In a hypothetical scenario, having him on the ballot can give you a variety of results depending on who he's going in with and how he's going into it. Let's say, in an Obi ticket, he would be a popular pick in the north, albeit controversial though, but he clearly isn't a force to lead the ticket, at least for now, against Tinubu. Then to Rabiu Kwankwaso, the former governor of Kano and the only NNPP winner in 2023. His supposed base is fanatical. Dubbed the Kwankwasiyya movement, easily recognized by the Red Caps, he holds the key to Kano State, Nigeria's largest voting bloc. No coalition would ignore him. In a coalition mat, he is indispensable, but however, he might not just be enough to challenge Tinubu without the total support of the entire opposition, which isn't likely to happen. But pairing with Obi could be decisive if they can align. But here's the truth, if Kwankwasiyya aligns with Tinubu instead, he will destroy the entire opposition strategy. Then the man pulling the strings, Atiku Abubakar, the veteran politician, former vice president, 6-time presidential contender, a political force with national reach, could really without a doubt take on Tinubu in an election and win. But his 2023 run suffered major blows. First, PWB's defection cost him the Southeast and the South-South, coupled with his rough perception, especially in the conservative Northwest, as probably too progressive for them. Persistent corruption allegations follows him, and there is the rising southern resistance to another northern presidency. For Atiku, coalition isn't optional, it is critical, especially with a popular southern figure like Obi, to be impressionable in the south in 2027, without which he might get a block veto from the south, since he considered can't run as vice anymore. However, some of his strongest arguments are that a northern candidate remains the strongest formidable force that can wrestle power from an incumbent government. Well, that is yet to be seen. Then there's PWB, the populist phenomenon.
The issue of qualification is the issue of leaders making statements, doing things that are honest and truthful. This is an issue of honor and integrity. It is the foundation on which you build society.
PWB is the wildcard of modern Nigerian politics. From Norway, he turned Labour Party into a serious force. Alongside his cult-like followership in the entire Southeast, he commands a strong base, not just cheap demographics, but amongst the middle and educated classes in the country. Nothing explains this that when you look at his performance in states with high literacy rates. But there's a ceiling, the northern appeal. Considering the regional and religious divide between him being Igbo Christian and the predominant House of Fulani Muslim North, he still isn't an ideal candidate that the traditional northern voter would cast his vote for. And that's the major hurdle. Even though he's making northern outreach attempts, it is still unclear whether that can translate to actual votes. Also, the recent APC fled ethnic tensions and bigotry on social media, in fact, makes it difficult to muster that kind of support and goodwill he enjoyed in the Southwest in 2023. Hence, a more realistic route for him would easily be an alignment with a northern candidate. Another running mate like Kwankwasiyya might solve the problem. But if Obi becomes a running mate article, he risks losing his entire base, maybe keeping his base on the Southeast. But in the long run, that will be putting his political sellability in a big gamble. As if such Atiku's presidency underperforms, could effectively end his future prospects in succeeding him in such a hypothetical scenario. Also, if he decides to go the way of aligning with a loving like el-Rufai as his running mate, that too can cause a lot of problems between him and the strong Christian base in southern Kaduna and other parts of the country, a block I don't think he's ready to sacrifice. So again, the stakes couldn't be higher. Bottom line, this is more than politics. It's a golden note of ambition, legacy, and power. For Atiku, 2027 is all about his final chance and legacy on the line. Obi, a rising star. One wrong move, career gone. Kwankwasiyya, once more than just Kano. For el-Rufai, redemption or a defense. And for Mechi, a shot at resurrection. But here's the cold hard truth. If they don't unite, they will lose. Tinubu may be unpopular, but a divided opposition won't stand a chance in 2027. So what do you think? Can Nigerian oppositions actually pull off a grand coalition? Or are we looking at another Tinubu victory in 2027? Tell us in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more dives into African politics and power.